Painkiller Hell and Damnation is somehow both a sequel and a remake. For those of you who haven't had the pleasure of playing the original, Daniel Gardner was just an average Joe on the way to a nice date with his wife Catherine. However, it seemed that fate had different plans for the happy couple. Daniel plows a car head-on into a truck, killing them both, but only Catherine was able to make it into heaven. Daniel soon finds himself stuck in purgatory and is informed that he must kill Lucifer's 4 generals before war breaks out between heaven and hell. In return for his help, Samuel promises Daniel a one-way ticket to heaven, but through a series of plot twists and betrayals, Daniel ends up in hell trying to fight his way out. Hell and Damnation picks up right where the last Painkiller expansion left off, with Daniel still unable to reach his wife in heaven. Only this time, Death himself has a request. He needs 7,000 souls and offers Daniel a reunion with his wife. Apparently physically unable to learn from his own recent past, Dan agrees and begins another ill-justified killing spree in purgatory. Hell and Damnation uses this premise to revisit all of your favorite locations from its predecessor, but this time with a 16:9, 1080p, top-of-the-line makeover. And you know what? I'm completely okay with that. If anything, the phrase "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" comes to mind. PKHD developer The Farm 51 knew exactly what fans wanted out of a new installment of the Painkiller series, and that most certainly did not include a revamped and well-thought-out storyline. What Hell and Damnation does is give you just enough story to justify the 7,000 demon bloodbath you're about to take. And for a game that focuses on fast-paced, balls-to-the-wall, white-knuckle action, a complex or deep narrative would have taken away from some of the visceral fun of mowing down horde after horde of demonic adversaries. PKHD walks that thin line between being an interesting new look at an old classic and turning into a derivative retread of an old fossil. And if anyone from the game industry was wondering, this is how you successfully remake a video game franchise. You know how some remakes will try to add to or change the original's gameplay style? Well, rest assured that has not happened here. Hell and Damnation brings back that action-packed, fast-paced, no-nonsense first-person shooting that we PC gamers grew up on. Each of the game's chapters is made up of several levels. Each of these levels have very simple objectives.
Kill everything.
When starting a level, you're actually entering into a legally binding contract to decimate everything that moves. When entering each new level, you'll notice they all have their own unique themes, ranging from haunted orphanages and medieval coliseums to modern-day train terminals and demonic carnivals. Of course, weapons in PKHD also have their own special flair. Sure, you've got industry standards like the shotgun, machine gun, or rocket launcher, but those are just about the only guns in the game that fire traditional bullets. To round out your demon-killing options, you have guns that fire long wooden stakes or sharpened pieces of rebar. Not good enough? How about we throw a Buzzsaw Launcher into the mix? And for the gamer with the sophisticated palate, we have a gun that fires Japanese throwing stars and shoots electricity. All of these beauties also have secondary fire modes that can come in real handy when you're getting swarmed. Freeze rays, Gatling guns, ball-bearing sized explosives, and a beam that sucks your enemy's souls out all give you more than enough options to take out Purgatory's demonic horde. But in stark contrast to its weapon selection, Hell and Damnation's gameplay is a relatively simple affair. Play a level, kill everything in it, and fight a huge hulking boss. That's about it. If you find this to be a little too simple, you can also scour each level for hidden rooms and chests filled with gold. As a matter of fact, you may want to do that anyways. Gold can be used to buy tarot cards that act as a one-time use power-up. You can use buffs like double damage or quicker movement, but my favorite was the slow motion card. These power-ups really help out when the difficulty ramps up and can really make the game's crazy hard boss fights a little more manageable. Some of you may find this to be a little bare bones for a modern shooter, but you have to understand, the original Painkiller stripped away all the aspects of first-person shooting that didn't center around fast-paced, kill-or-be-killed gameplay. And I'm pleased to say Hell and Damnation has left this back-to-basics mentality intact, which may end up as a downside for some modern FPS fans. In fact, why don't we go down a list of features Hell and Damnation has willingly omitted. Regenerating health. Scattered health kits and enemy souls are the only thing between you and a game over screen, leaving you with only one option if you suck at the game: get better. A cover system. Even if you could find something to hide behind, enemies mob on you at lightning speed. In Painkiller, if you stop moving, you stop living. Iron sights. Most of the time you'll be moving too damn fast to aim as it is. Even reloading. What are you, a sissy? Every weapon in PKHD can be fired until it's empty, and because Painkiller is way too busy kicking your ass to worry about clip sizes. Now I guess what I'm trying to say is Painkiller HD is a modern glimpse at PC gaming's past. A time when circle strafing and tough as nails difficulty were as common as dial-up and shareware. Now I know I'm being very biased, but even when I took off the rose-colored glasses and gave this game a thorough playthrough, I found it to be almost perfect. The only flaws I can really think of were some cringeworthy voice acting, and this is from the entire cast, including John St. John, the voice of Duke Nukem.
No! You motherfucker!
What the hell happened there? Now, I also had a problem finding one of the level's exits after I cleared all the enemies, but these were mild inconveniences at worst. So I guess the question is, do I recommend Painkiller Hell and Damnation? Well, this is normally the part where I think of something witty or insightful before the next section, but you should already be in the process of buying it, so fuck it.
Fuck it!
Painkiller is already a huge graphical milestone for PC gaming, and Hell and Damnation does not disappoint its forefather. All of my favorite enemies have made the transition into HD very gracefully. It's actually really cool seeing the levels and enemies I remember receiving such a huge pixelized facelift. Of course, the physics engine that made the original famous has made a return, and it's brought some very pleasing lighting effects with it. All around, Hell and Damnation has improved on its original substantially. Every texture has been reworked, every enemy has been remodeled, and every weapon has been polished up like new. I did notice a couple of blurry enemy models, but the good news is you'll never get a chance to get close enough to find one of these. I guess if I did have one complaint, it would be the bare bones look of the end level stats and the in-game heads-up display. But these were taken straight from the original, so I can't really praise it for being such a faithful remake, and damn it for including almost everything from the original. And on the plus side, Hell and Damnation runs on an extremely well-optimized version of the Unreal 3 engine. I had my decent gaming machine running it at a rock-solid 60 frames per second with all settings maxed. So budget gamers out there shouldn't have to sacrifice much quality at all to get this game running smoothly. I remember when the game was initially announced, a lot of fans were taking issue with the use of Unreal 3, claiming a slight change in engine may throw off the gameplay that we're all used to. But rest assured, I wasn't able to detect any changes in movement speed, shooting, or enemy AI. Now I know I'm not exactly an expert, but I must have played through the original Painkiller more than 20 times. If there were any significant changes, I like to think I would have caught them. As far as graphics go, Hell and Damnation is the total package. Nordic Games and the Farm 51 obviously held the original Painkiller in high regard, and it shows. These may not be the most high-end graphics on display right now, but no one can say that this isn't a damn fine-looking game. Okay, so I clearly have a love affair for this game, so let's go over the aspects of PKHD that make it stand out as a remake. Painkiller's classic gameplay is back, and holds up surprisingly well under modern scrutiny. The game's developers kept the simplistic nature of the original intact, and they resisted the urge to add anything to the single-player campaign. PKHD looks beautiful and runs like a dream. Budget builders can still enjoy this one. Hell and Damnation has some blisteringly fast gameplay that'll keep you on your toes and leave you trying to keep up. Now I'll admit, I think this game's almost perfect, but let's take a look at some of the small flaws I was able to find. Exits appear when you kill every enemy, but in the Coliseum level, this exit was hard to find. This game has some cringe-worthy voice acting, even from the voice of Duke Nukem himself. Well, I obviously had a lot of love for this series before playing the remake, and it's hard for me to say how a new player will feel about PKHD's gameplay. But I have to assume that any fan of white-knuckle action, great gameplay, or impressive graphics is gonna love this game. I would recommend Painkiller HD to anyone, and at $20 on Steam, it's a no-brainer. Long story short, go out and get this game immediately. And on that, I'm out of here. But if there's any Painkiller fans out there, leave me a comment, or shoot me a line on Facebook or Twitter. I'd love to hear your opinions on this one. Well, I'll see you guys later, and as usual, I'm Jared.
I have an offer for you.
Yeah? I have one too. Die!
And this has been Avalanche Reviews. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. And since you're already here, you may as well check out one of my other reviews, which I have gracefully laid out right here. And if you like this kind of stuff, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Listen, everybody's doing it, and I didn't want to tell you, but they're all kind of waiting for you.